You're watching Business Trends Today exclusively on ASBN.
Together, they help business owners better understand the psychology behind building a company that is not only successful today, but valuable and transferable when it comes time to sell or exit their business. So welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your, what appear looks like a very, very busy schedule. So thanks for joining me on the show. Dr. Carson, let's start with you with the psychology behind all of this. Why do so many business owners spend years building a company without seriously thinking about their eventual exit strategy?
Yeah, as a professor that specializes in talking to folks all the time about entrepreneurship, I become almost a broken record talking about most small businesses stay in the tactical ends of the business.
Sure.
And they never rise up to the strategic. Strategic is where you're making the decisions of what do we do next? Where does this go? How do we move the business forward? So part of it is where the majority of small businesses stay, in that area of how do we continue to have business today, next month, next year. What I get excited about, as you mentioned earlier in the intro, as the founding director of Oglethorpe University's Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center, is bringing in amazing folks that are in this space, consulting small businesses every day. My colleague here that you'll talk to in a moment has successfully sold 2 or 3 businesses, and what I'm most excited about the work that him and Mark are doing is they've come up with a systematic approach to what are the 4 to 6 things that you need to do.
Right.
So I'm really excited to complement what they're going to share with you today about how they've systematized this process so that folks can think beyond the tactical and go into the strategic.
Sure. Adam, you've built and scaled multiple businesses yourself. How common is it for owners to underestimate the preparation required to create a business that someone else would want to take over?
It is unfortunately very common. I've myself met and I'm working with a lot of these small businesses, mainly, and I think there is a great book that describes their mindset, which is the E-Myth. It's the struggle in the 3 hats, or the technician or an operator versus a manager versus entrepreneur. So in that struggle, most of them, they will probably get stuck in that first one, which is in the business versus on the business. And therefore, it will be very difficult for them to plan and to do that exit successfully.
Sure. Mark, what do you see among small business owners who wait too long to start planning? You and I have had these discussions a number of different times. What are you seeing out there?
Well, I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly over the years now. And I think that what it boils down to is that lack of planning, that lack of strategic perspective. You have to begin with the end in mind. I always try to consult my clients and business owners that this business is going to end one day. So you've got to have a plan on how you're going to get from A to B to Z.
Yeah, for sure. Mark, one of the biggest talking points around business exits is that many owners leave money on the table. Why does that happen?
For a number of reasons. And I think the 2 main reasons are financial and psychological. On the financial side, they aren't able to do the forecasting necessary in order to get their books in order. And on the psychological side, many of them are just not ready to exit a business. And that's where we kind of come in and help them put those ducks in a row so that they're able to maximize their exit when the time comes.
Sure. Adam, what are some of the most common mistakes that reduce a company's value long before the owner decides to sell?
It's a very good question. As a matter of fact, we just did a lecture here recently in Oxford about just that, and we put the benchmark of the buyer, so you start from that end. And we went through it step by step. There are a few of them, but mainly is going to be the one that reduces the confidence, which is, that means you're a high risk. That's going to affect not only the multiplier, sometimes it affect even they're gonna buy or not, which is an owner who is too much involved in the business. That's one of the biggest factor, because they would not be able to take it from there. It depends on you. Lack of structure, lack of especially if the business is not structured. If your financials, those are the main thing is you have an owner that is too involved and he did not get a chance to to put the business ready for transition to someone else to
Right.
take it. They look at also growth. They look at diversity of the revenue, where it's coming from.
Sure.
So all those are a risk factor. You can eliminate them, put a benchmark, work toward them.
Sure.
And that's how we could help these small businesses today to take the blurry and give them these steps, put a benchmark, assess where they're at, and tell them checklist one by one,
Right.
and help them mentally to cope through that.
Yeah.
Because usually they are very scared. They have that fear of losing control, and
Yep.
we can help them with that.
Yep. And that fear is what gets in the way, because now when the new owner comes in and they say, well, if we got to replace you, Mr. Business Owner or Mrs. Business Owner, that's a whole different set of circumstances, right? Versus the business owner having already thought that process and saying, no, when I step aside, this person is ready to take over from day one, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Doctor, is there a psychological reason owners often underestimate what their business is worth?
I think not a proper understanding, as these two gentlemen have shared with you, on the true value of their business. They've been too caught in the day-to-day, month-to-month, year-to-year.
Yeah.
And it's that strategic planning that looks out and say, how do we properly evaluate our business? I think that's what leaves a lot of money on the table.
Yeah, for
They,
sure.
they operate in the context of who is my immediate comp set.
Yeah.
And the most asked questions when you speak a lot to new entrepreneurs is, what impact is AI going to have in robotics? And,
That's right.
And I turn that question around. You're the expert in that space.
Yeah.
You tell me what impact it's going to have.
Yeah, for sure.
But not understanding that, or not having done any of the research on that, or not have sought the right sources on that, is again emblematic of just spending too much time in the business
Sure.
on the tactical execution of it, as opposed to standing above it,
Right.
and understanding what are those impacts.
That's right.
And how do you weave it in, and how do you make the relationships necessary to make sure that your business is still relevant and valued?
Yeah. Speaking of valued, Adam, some companies will sell for 2 times, 3 times earnings, while others might get 7 to 10 times earnings. Talk to me about that. What separates those companies?
So again, we really, a few days ago, we had that in the lecture, and I think
At Oglethorpe University.
yes, at Oglethorpe University, and it was good, and we were extremely happy to these small businesses who, back to your question, some of them, they overvalue what they think their worth is, which they are emotionally attached, and
Yeah.
because the amount of sweat, they think they should have more, and some of them, they don't know. I think if people in general understand how the buyer, how the market is functioning when it comes to value, it starts everything.
Sure.
Because usually is an EBITDA, which is profit, and then you multiply that with a multiplier. The EBITDA, it's how much you're functioning on your bottom line,
Right.
on your P&L. That multiplier has a lot to do with the confidence again, and the trajectory. So if you build the business that is growing, your financials are good, you don't have a lot of skeletons in the closet.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of easy transition. It's clear. There is not a lot of risk. Most likely, the multiplier can go sometimes to 10, just to give an example, where in some industry is from 1 to 7. Sometimes you are so good, and you can build that for them.
Right.
If you have everything structured, organized, ready to grow.
Sure.
And especially if strategically you plan yourself that exit.
Right.
Because you don't want to be forced to exit. Then you're back to desperate, and you may have
That's
to
right.
give it up. Yeah.
Good part. Good point there. And also, I would imagine aligning yourself with the right advisory team, right? It's kind of like a real estate company where you got one realtor that goes, hey, you got to discount your house so we can sell it real quick. And they're in and they're out. They want their commission, what have you. Nothing against realtors, by the way. But I mean, there's a human element there, right? And then you've got others that say, I've got a long list of clients that'll pay 10 times what you're about to take, right?
And we talked about the inherent risk just this week of using AI too much to solve these kinds of things. Now, you won't find me say many negative things about the AI.
Yeah.
AI is here. It is part of what we do. It's business
of course,
function.
of course. Used in every
But
aspect of business.
there is something about experience other than just a model that can get you to the 10 plus evaluation. And as we talked about, sort of what they bring to the table is, I can get a model in 30 seconds from most of the AI.
Yeah.
30 seconds or less.
Right.
On how to exit my business, and drop some key metrics in there.
Sure.
But there are things that only experience can lever.
Right.
to help you get
That's
to
right.
the next level.
That's
so,
right. That's right.
It's not anti-AI. That
Yeah.
is just talking about what firms like what they're creating can do.
It's the mental aspect of it.
Sure.
You need a coach.
Sure.
It happened to me. Big companies, they can afford board of directors. Those are coaches.
That's right.
Small
That's right.
businesses, they cannot. So you can find them. SBA, and that's what happened to me, how I met Mark, and
Yeah.
he became a mentor
Sure.
for me and other people who are peers. And I had to ask the question, educate myself. I think every small business to me needs that mentor.
Yes, totally agree.
And for the journey.
That's right. Totally agree.
I'll also like to add to Dr. Carson's point, AI is here, and it's a tool.
Yeah.
It's not a panacea, it's not going to cure everything.
Right.
And the smartest small business owners are able to utilize tools along with mentors and resources to maximize the value of their company. and
Right,
whatever they
right,
exit.
right. Mark, do me a favor, just for the business owners that are listening right now. Many people think that EBITDA is net profit. They say, "Oh, this is what we made." Well, it's not the net profit of the. Explain what EBITDA is for our viewers that might be going. They keep talking about EBITDA. What exactly is EBITDA, and how is that different from the net profit of my company?
Absolutely. EBITDA is an acronym for earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization.
Okay.
So it is a measure that most private equity and accounting systems use in order to value what the net profit is on a business.
Right.
To peel back a few more layers, I'll kind of defer to Dr. Carson for the academic kind of definition of it.
No, that's it. That's
Well,
it.
I mean,
You're right
because
on point.
companies will be paying interest.
But you
know.
really do not want to use the net profit because the net profit is smaller. You want to add to it before interest.
Right.
And before you want to even add back. They may find things that they're not going to come back when they take over your business.
That's right.
You're paying mortgage or you're paying certain things that are personal entertainment.
That's right.
So really you want to go with the EBITDA plus add back because that's multiplied by a multiplier.
Right.
Net income is after you take all the fat out of it. You don't want to do that. You want to actually have a bigger value.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, for sure. And there's a number of small business owners, including myself, and IRS, if you're listening, just close your ears. But there might be some things in there that we're putting in a financial statement. Many business owners do that. If they're going to take a trip somewhere, they kind of tie it into business, and maybe it's vacation, maybe it's not. But there's a lot of expenses that small business owners will do that often to minimize their tax liability. But those things, to your point, can be brought back in to go right to the bottom line, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
As long as these small businesses are organized and everything is there in
Right.
black and white and all that, so the buyer will understand. He knows what you've been doing as a small business. Those are your privileges, but at least he will remove them back and he will put them in your bottom line. And with the multiplier, you will have a better value.
That's right. That's right. And in the event of a business that has got a lot of debt, they're paying a tremendous amount in interest every month, and then they look at a much lower net profit than if a company acquires and pays the debt off and goes, "Oh, wait a minute, we're bringing all of that right to the bottom line," right? So business owners might have a greater bottom line, so to speak, with EBITDA, the EBITDA approach, than if they say, "Oh, I only made $50,000 at the end of the month, and I'm going to times that by 3 or 5 or 7." Not so fast, right? You got to really get into the EBITDA number.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So, Mark, let me ask you: when buyers evaluate a company, what characteristics tend to command those premium valuations?
I would say the top three are lowest percentage of owner dependency.
Okay,
would be
yeah,
one.
I can see that.
Number two would be recurring revenue models. And I think number three would be kind of predictability of the revenue streams.
Okay.
Those I think are the top three.
Yeah.
And you'd add to that diversity in revenue streams as well. A dependency on just one sole source for revenue.
Yeah.
And then operation structure is if the system has a cookie cutter and that cookie cutter is there, it makes it easy for them so they don't have to spend money. Think about the buyer. He's a person who is going to have a loan or he's going to invest his own money. And instead to put in the money market today, or the market today is not the great. So he's encouraged through the SBA and different places to get a loan and buy you. He wants to get that 10% or a bigger multiplier. So if he has a business of yours that is doable to do that, you're helping him to invest on you and make money. And in many cases, he's probably going to ask you to put some equity
Right.
right? And then you can double dip. You sell here, and you get a portion there, and then one day sell
As
for a bigger
known as the
supplier.
second bite of the apple.
That's it,
Right?
Yeah, which I would
right.
encourage highly for people to.
Yeah, no question about it, for sure. And especially if they're going to stay on for a period of time, many business owners that sell, the buyer will say, well, I need you to stay on for a year or two. You know, we don't want half the staff walking out because now, you know, Jim's not in charge anymore, and we like Jim. He was a good guy, you know, and then everyone starts looking around, right? So they want it, they like steadiness.
Absolutely, and you put your mouth where your pocket is. So if you stay in, that means you're facing them. That means what you told them you have, it is accurate, and you're willing to even tell your employees and face them that, hey, we're doing a great transition, because you got to take care of them too. And then you are committed to the new buyer that I'm here, that I will help you to facilitate those customers and this and that.
Yep.
And I think it'd be a win-win.
Yep, for sure. Mark, from a strategic planning perspective, what does a transferable business look like?
Transferable business looks like, as Adam said earlier, it's all about systems.
Yeah.
That cannot be owner dependency. I like to use the acronym of 3 Ps: policies, processes, and procedures.
Okay.
Those all roll up to create the system that a business operates under, and those systemized businesses are the ones that are most transferable, Jim.
Yeah. Adam, is that kind of your area of expertise?
It is. I've been through that. I've been through due diligence. I've been through the tough one and the easier one. The easiest one to transfer is the one if you have some sort of, use a Google Drive or whatever, because beside what he said, you also have to have all your legal stuff, your licensing, your IPs, your all that, because it makes lesser research, lesser time, lesser money, and your due diligence time would be less, and the transferability or the transition becomes smoother by doing that. They may even thank you. Hey, I've seen some due diligence take a year or two. Some of them take 90 days. The difference between them is how complicated.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
The easier the systems, the less time they spend in due diligence.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, and as far as due diligence, to keep your books and records, right, your all of your accounting in line, so you're not. Due diligence doesn't step in and go, do you even know what you're running here? What is going on? How long should a business owner think in terms of selling? I know that we talked about from day one they should start to think about an exit. But how long is that process when you talk to a business owner that says, hey, I think we're getting ready to retire, we want to sell? Is it 90 days? Is it 6 months? Is it a year?
Practically 3 years, because they're going to look back at 3 years financial.
Okay.
So even, yeah. I
would have folks 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah.
3 years.
Okay.
Because they go back to 3 years on your books.
Okay.
That's the industry standard. However, you're right, from a goal point of view, from a business plan, the day you put a business plan, you better have somewhere there, what is your business plan, what is the projection within 5 years, 10 years, and what kind of exit you want to do. Do you want to sell it, or do you want to transfer it to whoever?
Right.
Whatever you want to do with it, because that's going to dictate. Exit has to be there as a goal, even if you do not sell it, because exit means optimize it.
Right.
And then even if you don't sell it and the system got better because you optimized it, then you start taking vacations and your bottom line goes up.
That's right.
So I still think that everybody should think to exit year one, day one. But as far as contractually, 3 years, you don't have a choice if you want to exit today, 3 years from now, because your books has to be clean, good, ready.
Sure. Doctor, what's the difference between a strategic buyer and just an investment, a straight investment buyer that buys it based on the business itself?
Yeah, that's a great question. Students ask about this all the time. So the majority of the folks I speak to are 18 to 22.
Okay.
And I say, well, what's your vision? Are you looking to build a portfolio, which would be more of a strategic kind of, what assets do I need to have in my portfolio? Or is it something that is a passionate project, something that you envision, that you love to cook, so you want to own restaurants?
Yeah.
So I think that that's true of older, more mature folks that are actually looking to invest in purchases. Is it strategic to fit a portfolio of businesses that you're having? Or is it, again, I've always wanted to be in the restaurant business. I always wanted to be
an AI or an innovator creator.
Sure.
I think that becomes sort of the differential.
So if I'm a tire, let's say I sell tires, but next door is a car wash, and I'm thinking, well, every single customer that I've got is a potential car wash customer. I might look at that as a strategic buy to say this is really going to enhance my business because every person that's going through the car wash also needs tires. So I'm looking at it differently than if I just said I want to buy a car wash and what do the numbers look like?
And that I will try not to go on a soapbox and limit myself to a minute on that because I literally spend
that's a whole course.
A lot of time talking about that every week.
Sure.
As a professor in entrepreneurship, as soon as someone in a discussion
Yeah.
sort of talks to me and they say, so what do you do? I'm a professor. Oh, what do you teach? Entrepreneurship. And they go into an idea or what they're looking to transform that in their business. Planning.
Yeah.
Planning. I would encourage someone, the first question I ask everyone, every conversation, every week is, do you have a business canvas?
Yeah.
Right? A business canvas is a structured document that allows you to rationalize your idea so that you can have a structured argument. But if you haven't self-rationalized it, then you can't give the structured argument.
Right.
For your example, the tire place that owns, have you done a rationalized case study on it to see? And when I say case studies, okay, that's the professor talking. No, 21 years corporate America, 10 years entrepreneur. But the best of the best plan, the best of the best strategically aligned. And if it's not strategically aligned, even if it's next door or giving you 5% of your business, if it's not strategic aligned, don't do it.
Right, but theoretically, and I've spoken to a lot of entrepreneurs and investors and private equity people, the strategic buyer will pay more money than just somebody coming in going, I'm just looking at the bottom line of your actual run, right?
And it depends on what their objective is.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That strategic buy may enhance the rest of their portfolio
Right.
or what else they have on the books.
Sure.
So in some industries, they will buy, for example, the private equity, when they will buy the first company they call a platform, they would pay much bigger multiplier.
Right.
So that's an acquisition. That is the the later on strategic buy is to add to that platform.
Yeah.
And to add to build the portfolio. So now they're building these bigger, much bigger pie.
Right.
And that's the difference in that psychology behind which business makes sense and why that one means more or is value more, the platform versus the tuck-in.
Right, makes sense. Mark, if I've got a business and I'm running it and my wife and I are doing very well, the family's doing good off of the business, but we don't show much of a profit on our tax returns, okay? Who would ever want to buy a company that shows no profit on their tax returns? Is there a value in my company and I lease, we don't own the property, so there's no real estate value there. It's just the business itself. Is that still saleable?
If there is a real revenue component behind it that can be replicatable with a new owner.
Okay.
A lot of businesses out here, I consult with businesses who are so owner dependent. If that owner decided to sell or leave the business would literally be worthless.
Right.
So it all depends on the model.
Right, but there could be a case made for the company still having a value if it's not showing a profit.
Yeah,
Correct.
So remember, the income that you're paying to the tax is not on the P&L. That's after, because the EBITDA is before tax.
Right.
So we're talking about the P&L.
Yep.
That's what you need to focus on, not on how much you pay tax.
Right.
Nobody cares about how much you pay tax,
Right.
but they want to make sure you pay tax.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
EBITDA is how much money your business can generate,
Right.
not how much went to your pocket.
Okay.
So that's one. Two, I would say when you made a decision to sell it, you may want to now take a different strategy, because if I have a business, I can take and optimize all the luxury. I'll pay my mortgage. I do a lot of things, cars, all small business, they know what to do there. But if you want to sell it, you may want to play it by the book. So you're going to compromise on how much you want to do these things.
We just lost half the viewers right now.
Well, I mean, if you want,
But it brings up a very good
because
point.
here's $1 million thing, and I'll live with that. You want to make $100,000 or $150,000 a year for 10 years, so you could end up making $1.5 million, or you want to make $5 million in 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So when you compromise here, you're going to make it in at one time.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Very good
So
point.
income versus wealth
Right.
is the question.
That's
here.
right.
But
That's
you have
right.
to pick. You can't have both.
That's right. Doctor, if I came up with an app and it seems like there's a whole bunch of users out there. We've got 150,000 users using this app, but man, we are losing $50,000 a month. Is there any value in that company?
It depends. That's a very generic question. It depends. Most apps start out in a deficit for
Yeah.
the first 3 years.
Yeah.
They're strategically aligning to get out there and build the girth of audience. So they overinvest or they invest the right amount. Depends on the
Yeah.
opportunity in marketing in non-traditional ways and such.
We hear so much about companies like Uber that lost money, and yet it's $1 billion, plus company.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch that. But students that are doing that I have, because 80% of the students are launching apps. That's what they're doing. Just strategically aligning, making sure that there is a clear objective of when they will make a profit from it. But that's pretty common in the app business.
The
Yeah.
prescription model. So they spend the first few years invest on getting prescriptions. Then after that, you have a platform with millions, and then all of it, they roll out. So
Right.
it's an investment, basically.
And I'll tell you, which justifies the gray on my face, I started out in that space in '97
Okay.
For a company here in Atlanta called WorldSpan. If you can go back at that time. It was owned by Delta Airlines, old names like TWA and Northwest Airlines, but they launched the online component of travel onto the web.
Okay.
So brands that I was involved in launching, Expedia, Priceline, Orbitz, Hotwire, Hotels.com.
Yeah, wow.
80% of the world's travelers book through it. All of those started out with, hey, we invest heavy the first 3 years.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, once we build reputation, build a client base. So, I'm reminded of that when I fast forward to where I am now and talk to folks about apps. What is the end objective? How do you get there? And there has to be some turn points.
Sure.
So but planning is
Dr. Carson's big on planning.
planning.
That's right.
The majority of entrepreneurs, take me off my soapbox, guys, but the majority of entrepreneurs start out as a tactician. I'm a great architect. I've been at this firm for 30 years. I could do my own. I'm a great mechanic. I could open up my own shop. I'm a great cook. I could open up my own restaurant.
Yeah.
And they live and they drive business into what they do from that space that they are the best in the market. But that is tactical. Again, I stay on the soapbox because it's so critical. If you don't move the strategic, you don't get to exit your business. Right, and make maximum multiples. If you don't move to strategic, there's so many things that take you that become scary.
Yeah.
Things like robotics, AI, crypto, those should not be scary things because what you need to do, no matter what industry you're in, is understand how does it impact my business and who in my industry is doing it best with these new innovations.
Right.
And I suspect all of us are old enough that, we've seen cell phones, we've seen the internet, we've seen Apple, we've seen all these things.
Sure.
There are things that we can't even envision that's going to be out there on the horizon.
That's right.
And it's not until you reach that strategic zone that you could amply handle it and maximize, like this gentleman has done, and what they talk about, maximize the amount that you get for your firm.
Yeah, for sure.
So I sound like the old broken record and the professor in the room, but I am the old broken record and the professor in the room.
Mark, where do you typically find the biggest opportunities for improving profitability and operational opportunities in a business?
When they begin to really take systemization seriously.
Okay.
That's where you start to achieve economies of scale that can reduce your expenses. Because anytime, I'm a big cost cutting, cost savings, cost avoidance.
Yeah.
Because when you do those three things, they trickle right down to your bottom line.
Right, yeah, for sure. Did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll say small businesses, they need to understand the difference between gross profit and markup.
Sure.
And they need to look at where the revenue is coming from and really sell first, because sales can cure a lot of issues, and then take some of that revenue and reinvest on the business and put those flow charts, and it's systemize it, and then all of a sudden it becomes more efficient, and then you start seeing after a few months more bottom line. Yes, that's how I.
When should a business owner bring a coach like you in that as an expert to say, hey, we've set up this company, we've been running the business for a year, and we do have an exit in mind, 3 years, 5 years, whatever the case might be. I'm 60 years old. I want to retire by the time I'm 65. I want to sell the business. When do they bring you in?
I've really been. That's a very good question. By the way, that is what we
I'm pretty
call-
good at this. I've been
Yeah,
doing
very good. And the second book now that would probably describe that is called Traction.
Okay.
When they hit that, they cannot go anymore. The plateau.
And they all do.
Yeah, and they
all hit
do
that
have to
plateau.
at that
Right.
point admit, because you
Yeah.
cannot fix somebody
Right.
who knows it all or afraid of being touched.
Yeah.
You go into a doctor, I have a problem,
Right.
but I don't want you to give me any remedy.
Right,
Don't give me
right.
That you cannot help. I
That's a good
feel
point.
like, especially when the proactive one, don't wait to you hit the wall because it becomes more expensive to fix it.
Yes.
Is to get a mentor, somebody done that, been there, that could help you, coach you, because you're the one who's going to fix it, and the remedy is in front of you, but they will build your mind to start seeing things clear and when to do what and how to do it. And you will, I think, so the timing is mainly proactively anytime, but especially when you hit that plateau.
Right. We all live. Let's go ahead.
I just want to
follow
say
up?
the real first step there is going to be establishing what the baseline is. What cannot be measured cannot be improved.
Yeah,
So you have to look at both a qualitative and quantitative analysis.
Yep.
Set the baseline metrics. You can start to measure the improvement
Right.
toward the goals of potentially exiting, and that's what we help companies do.
And I know that you've helped a lot of companies, hundreds of people and entrepreneurs do just that. We've talked about it before. We've had a chuckle over it when you ask most business owners, can I see your business plan? They look at you like a deer in the headlights. And they go, what do you mean? We have a restaurant, we serve food, we make it every day. There's our business plan. No.
That's not
You
a plan.
can't, that's not a business plan. That's actually a plan to fail, isn't it?
No, absolutely,
Yeah.
John.
I mean, it could be.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially now more than ever, they have to take it seriously because everything is changing. I know Dr. mentioned the word AI maybe 20 times.
Yeah, right.
Back in
22.
This one's 23 now.
No, it's very
So
true. There's no
things are
question about it.
changing.
Yeah.
Things are moving
We
really
use it
fast.
every single day here throughout the day.
So you better understand what the word pivot.
That's right.
And there are companies now went from selling a product to cars. I
Yeah.
don't want to mention the names
Yeah.
because they pivot.
That's right.
So you're a good businessman. Think and start looking at the icebergs and what's going on, what's going to happen, how that's going to affect me.
Yep.
And go seek help and start building those business plan and strategy and almost think about your driving and navigating GPS, and then all of a sudden you deviate. You're gonna need that person that put you recenter back so you can get your destiny. That's really what a good mentor would do.
Yeah. So go ahead.
And I would add, and I have many soapboxes. This is one of the greatest cities to be an entrepreneur in.
Yeah,
Really
no
is.
question about it. I agree. I agree. By the way, we're shooting from Atlanta. So
Atlanta, Georgia.
Our studios are in Atlanta. So,
Yeah,
but we love all the cities in the country.
We love all the cities. I study this for a living. I look at other cities.
Yeah.
The resources that we have here, from top universities to largest airport in
Yeah.
the world,
Yeah.
all those things are natural.
Fortune 500 company headquarters.
500 companies, all that kind of thing. But for the entrepreneur,
Yeah.
there is so much free training
Yeah.
and experience consulting
Yep.
throughout the whole entire city.
Yeah, for sure.
If I left with one huge point, and what I'm encouraging and they're structuring to do, is connecting, and this may be odd from an educator to say, but I'm not here to promote only the institution I'm at. There are a lot of great institutions here in the city that have, Emory has the Hatchery, Oglethorpe has the Oglethorpe Entrepreneurship Empowerment Zone, Georgia Tech has Tech Village. There are just a tremendous amount of resources to go to and get the best of the best.
Yeah.
You know,
For
I'm
sure.
sitting here today because these gentlemen graced me by speaking to local entrepreneurs in what we call the Oglethorpe Entrepreneurship Zone, Empowerment Zone, which is Buckhead, Brookhaven, Chamblee, Dorville, Dunwoody, and Sandy Springs.
Okay.
And they came in and talked to entrepreneurs in that local area on Oglethorpe's campus about this same topic here. And the room was absolutely packed.
Yeah, that's great.
The session was only supposed to be 2 hours. It went 3 hours because these were entrepreneurs that really had no clue, in some cases, on how to get there, and these guys' expertise. So it's a great city to get that.
That's
and
for sure.
what I would encourage is to seek out these kinds of resources.
Yeah.
They're out throughout the city.
Yeah. Well, you've made a pitch for your organization a number of times, and what a lot of people, we've gotten comments back to say, I didn't know that was available to me for free, right? And as you said, all your tax dollars are actually paying for that. So why would you not take advantage of it, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, it's really is incredible. So as we wrap up this segment, I appreciate all the time that you've given me. I'm going to ask you this question. I just kind of want to go down and get each one of your expert opinion and give me the reason here. But the question is, because we hear so much right now, there's so many people that are watching the media and saying, man, is this a good time to start a business? I mean, I've got my 401k, maybe I'm 59, maybe I'm 60 years old, I want to do something else, I have a lot of runway ahead of me, maybe I buy an existing business, but maybe I open up a business or buy a franchise or whatever, but with all that's going on in the world right now, maybe I just need to shelf that idea for a while. So I want to get your take on that, Mark, and then go down the road here. Is it a good time to start a business right now, and why?
It's a good time to start a business if you've got a great idea.
Okay.
And the one question I will submit to any person who's willing to start a business, you have to ask yourself this question, be able to answer it introspectively. Why would a potential client or customer choose to buy my product or service as opposed to any other offering out there in the marketplace? And if you can't set clearly that differentiation vision, you may want to take a step back and see if you're ready to be in
Yes,
business.
very, very good advice, for sure. Adam, what about you?
Same thing. Honestly, I was lucky that I grew up in the industry of HVAC. It's essential. I don't think it's going anywhere. I know the AI is going to probably enhance it versus a lot of people are scared of AI taking a job. I don't have that fear. I think I will use the AI but I will not ignore it. And I would say whatever idea, just don't try to put yourself in a niche and then later on say, what is the revenue, what are the customers? Just go find something that people could really love and like. Create something that people will love to say, wow, I didn't think about it. I mean, today we see a lot of examples. You bring Uber. Everybody thought it was, really? You're going to get a guy to pick up somebody? But is it today?
Right.
And make sure when you go for it, commit.
Yeah.
Because the 50% of the failure, probably even more, comes from that lack of confidence, that lack of commitment, and the hesitant. And then all of a sudden you start doubting, go in spiral in the first year, right?
Yeah.
And stay away from FOMO and try to go to the mentor of businesses. They can give you a better, clear idea if that business work or not.
Great advice. How about you, Doc?
Now, I may surprise you with my answer, and I'll back it up. It is always a great time to start a business. It's not always a great time to start every business, but it is always a great time to start a business.
Yeah.
The world is in search of value.
Yeah.
So really what you're talking about is aligning your business interests into serving what needs the most value served at that time.
moment.
I tell students this and they cringe sometimes, but it's a fact. There is many times an increase when there is something negative going on in society, a pandemic, a war, or some unique thing, because there's so much need that's developed in key areas. We needed personal protection stuff during the pandemic. So how do you PPE? PPE.
Yeah.
Are you in that business, or can you figure out a way to distribute it? Can you?
Sure.
So there is always an opportunity to start a business. It's what business you're getting and what industries are popping.
Right. Yeah. Fantastic. Those are fantastic comments, final comments, I should say, and recommendations. I know that our viewers will get a lot out of this segment right now. It's going to be exciting to see the comments come in on this, because there's so many entrepreneurs out there that, to your point, Adam, they've hit a plateau and they're working hard and they don't know how to get to that next plateau, that next 100,000 a year, $1 million a year, $5 million a year, whatever it might be. So thank you so much, Mark, Adam, and Dr. Carson. Thank you so much for joining me on the show. Very much appreciated. I'd love to do a follow-up with you, because there's 20 other questions that my viewers are like, ask them this, ask them that. So it's great having you guys on this panel. So thank you so much.
I'll conclude with one point. As I mentioned, that again, this is the community here in Atlanta is rich with resources.
Yeah.
Oglethorpe, we're trying to do our part. Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. But we continue to bring in ecosystem partners on our campus to enhance and encourage and educate entrepreneurs. Free resources. So I would encourage folks to sort of
watch what we're doing out there.
Sure.
I can be found in LinkedIn, Dr. Leroy Carson Jr.com.
Great.
And we'd love to get those resources out to everybody.
Absolutely. In fact, we're going to, right below the video that you're watching, we'll have all of their LinkedIn. So all you got to do is click, and it takes you right to them and connect with them, which I highly recommend that you do. So thank all of you for watching today, and I know that you're going to get a lot out of this segment. So thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching Business Trends Today exclusively on ASBN.